Good morning, everybody. This is Jessie over at Grace and Truth Ministries, and today I am sharing with you my Hobonichi 2023 faith journal setup. So I wanted to kind of just share how I prepared the journal for the year, what the different sections look like, how I'm using it, and what's different from my 2022 setup, because I did use a Hobonichi last year as well, to kind of keep track of my prayers and that sort of stuff. So I'll kind of walk you guys through it and we'll go from there. So this is the 2023 prayer journal that I have. I do not have like the cover figured out yet. It is in a plastic cover that I got off of Etsy. It's kind of like, I don't know if you can see that or not. See how it's got like glitter on it? So it's just a protective cover that I use because I do have a tendency to get a lot of paint smudges and stuff like that on it. And that's the other reason why I haven't made the cover yet, because I do have a tendency to be a messy artist. So I kind of prefer to do, oh, hold on, there's a glare there. I'm going to turn that light off. I kind of prefer to do the cover like at the very end of when I'm done. But I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll change it up. Who knows? Okay, so in the front page, I just have the year, which is honestly kind of silly because it does have the year on the cover, but eventually the cover will be, you won't be able to see it. So I'd like to have a quick way of knowing which year it is. What I did last year and what I'm continuing to do is I put pictures from the year that were significant as they related to like faith. So I don't always put a ton of pictures into my faith journals. I'm going to get my other one out if I can find it quick. Sorry, I probably should have did that like before I started. Oh yeah, there it is. But see, okay, so you can kind of see, look how dirty. That's very dirty. This is my 2022 journal. I started it halfway through the year, so there was a couple pages that I didn't end up using, but that's kind of like the finished product. You can see a little bit of the difference. So I am a little bit worried, like because I only use this guy half the year, I am worried that I'm going to run out of space. But if that's the case, I will figure it out at that point. Okay, so I guess I can compare and contrast a little bit. So what was I talking about? Oh my gosh. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Shoot. You guys, this is how bad my brain is. Anyway, we'll just keep moving forward. Hopefully if it's something important, I end up covering it anyways, which is usually what happens. Oh yeah, the pictures. Okay, so I put the pictures in the front as they relate to kind of like important things of faith. So in this year, we happened to, like, my husband and I got baptized. Did we get married that year? No, we didn't get married that year. I just wanted to put it there. My son got baptized. Here's a picture of him doing some volunteering and a picture of my husband. He's on the worship team at our church. And so it's a picture of him playing. And I have a couple more pictures that I want to add to the collage. But the idea is like, as time goes on throughout the year, then I'll just add stuff as it relates to faith. Right here, my husband is, I believe, yeah, he's practicing for a worship team. We are writing a worship song, and so I'll probably put some stuff on there as we kind of go through it. This is just somebody else's handwriting. Isn't it beautiful? I really want to learn how she does it, so it's kind of like stuck in there as a reminder. So, okay, so difference between this year and last year. I'll start with, I guess, the first section, which is the index area. Okay, so for this year, what I decided to do was kind of keep track of my journal entries as it relates in an index form. Sorry, I'm going to put this back in this other one quick. Because I feel like it's important for me to just have a quick access to things that I might want to know about. So what I am keeping track of is anytime I do like a verse study, I'm putting the verse in there. If there's specific themed things that I want to remember about, or entries that I think are going to be important, like this one up here, I talked about fasting, parenting advice, things like that, certain memories. So I'm keeping that in a list form here so that I can easily go to that date and look at it if I want to. February I haven't really updated in its entirety yet, plus we're in the middle of the month. So that's there. And then last year I used, did I even use the index? Oh yeah, last year I used the index specifically for goal tracking. So that's a little bit different than how I ended up using it. And as you can see, I stopped after October. So I didn't really like the index for its purpose, which is why I revamped it. Okay, so then I did include and make use of some of these, like some of these December pages, because I was still using my other journal at that time. So I used this section specifically to list, or I'm going to use it to list any miracles that God presents in my life. I did that last year with a tab here, and I really, really enjoyed it. So it was an opportunity for me to just reflect on all the goodness that God brings to us, the ways that He works through our lives, how He helps our lives. So that I put in the weekly, like the first weekly page that wasn't really being used. So then in this weekly's, I kept with my same approach as I did, in my previous format. One kind of major difference is I was using a lot of watercolor in my old one, and this watercolor you have to use like a dryer of some kind to get it to dry, or spit it out, Jess, or just like let it air dry, and that takes too long for me. So I switched to a different kind of color, a color spot. I'm using, what is it called? Some guy. Hold on, we're gonna get it out because I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Tom Hanks. It is not Tom Hanks. It's Jim Holtz. Okay, so I use this distressed oxidized spray, and I spray it on this thing. It's like a, where is it? Here it is. It's like a little finger dauber. And I spray it on here, and then I just smear it on the page, and that's how I get my like color blotch for the week. I also have kind of used Tombow markers like this one. This one's just markers. And so what I do in that section of that color spot is anything that's like kind of important to remember as a memory as it relates to faith. Like for instance, I did a 3-day fast, which was terrible. I'm not very good at it, but I did one. I also I gave some money to somebody in assistance, things that I think I want to remember. Here's when my channel went from 14 subscribers to 79 subscribers. I thought that was kind of crazy that it jumped really fast. I know now it's more than that, but it was a big moment for me, so I was excited and I wanted to kind of remember that. So I try to put memory type things. There's my husband in his Bible study and my crazy goofy dog. Can you see him? His name is Beethoven, and he is like, sorry, my camera won't, there he goes. He is the most ridiculous dog that I have ever, I mean, he's just ridiculous. So I put my prayers in for the week, and then and that's exactly the same as what I did in the previous one. I will continue with this method because I really do like it. I like putting like little videos that I've watched, songs that I really like, you know, any kind of important memory type stuff. The verse of the week I put at the beginning of the week. So that's the general layout that I use. And I really, really love what that does for me. So I kept that. The other sections that I had at the beginning of my 2022 journal, study tips, resources, lifestyle, those specific things, although I really appreciated having them in this journal, I don't have room for that now because, again, remember how I said I like started it halfway through the year? So I just use like all the extra pages that had no purpose, and that's what I use them for. In this journal, I don't really have those options, so they're just gonna have to get like absorbed into the daily pages, and then I will put tabs on the side like this for things that want to stick out, like this one, which is themes to study. So that's another section to talk about of how I set up my journal. Okay, so I have on the one side, I've got, it's going to be ongoing tabs for thematic things that I want easy access to. Like I do want to know what themes when I'm going to study. Like if I'm having an extra hour or two that I'd want to do Bible study for, and I'm thinking about, you know, what can I do with this time? What can I study? Well, here's a list of things that I'm interested in that I can quickly reference and then study. So that's why I tabbed that one. Obviously, I tabbed the God Miracle page for easy access to that. So anything that I want quick reference to, I will put a tab. Otherwise, I do have the index, which I also tabbed that. That'll be another way for me to find stuff. Then, in addition to that, I tabbed the months. I'm using these little gold tabs to put the months out. I am just doing... Did you hear that? I said out. I'm not from Canada, you guys. I'm really not, but that was definitely a Canadian accent. I am putting the tabs just right on the numbers so that they follow the kind of layout of the Hobonichi. And that will kind of keep the months to go along the edge, you know, in that way. So those are the tabs for the long term. But then I have my weekly tabs, which maybe I need to pull this up a little bit just so you can see it better. Sorry. I've got a three different little tabs here, okay? So the first one marks the month, the monthly page. This one marks the weekly page, and then this one marks the daily page, so that it's quick access to what's going on each week. So in my monthly page, last year in my monthlies, let's see if I can find, do they come before the weeklies? Yeah, they do. Let's see. I didn't even stick with that. See, that's how bad that was. Last year, I did verse of the week or verse of the day, and I would just like log the verse of the day. Now I'm not logging it, though I could probably put it as a little blurb on my daily pages. That might be kind of cool. But I just read the verse of the day on the Bible app, and I just read it, and I haven't been logging it. Instead, what I'm logging on my monthlies is my gratitude pages. So that was something in my old journal that, remember how I said I had all those like extra pages just hanging out? In my 2022, I had old daily pages, and I just made this like gratitude spread which I really did like, but I don't have the page options for that in this one. So instead, I'm just using it as the monthly spread. And I really like it like this. Like, to me, it makes more sense because then I can see what day this stuff happened. And yeah, it's just a nice, easy display of how God is doing his awesomeness in my life. So that's what I'm using the monthly spreads for. And then I kind of already showed you my weekly spreads, you know, what that looks like. And then my daily spreads. So in my daily pages, there's another layout there as well. And on the tabbed page right there, I open up the month with just a little picture that's an inspiration for that month, something that speaks to my heart about, you know, what is this month feeling like for me? You know, what am I hoping for? You know, anything that inspires me is basically just going to be my monthly picture. And then I did start doing like my goals right here. So as you can see, I got through some of my goals, but not my last goal. You know, but that's kind of been helping me to do better with my Bible study, do better with my spiritual walk with the Lord. And that's just kind of sits right there. So then from there, I have my daily pages. And each daily page is kind of like, I don't know, a little bit different. This one, I was just trying to figure out how I was going to set up my Bible study time for the year. I had kind of made a list of some ideas. A couple of them I actually selected for what Bible I was going to use and that kind of thing. But it's just my daily pages kind of change. Like, it can be different every time. This is one thing that I do every week though. And sorry, I used to be like last year, where did I put the verses of the week? It wasn't on the daily pages. It was last year. I was like, I don't know, I feel like I made it super nice and like pretty and all this kind of stuff. And they were all in one section with the gratitude pages. And they all just kind of sat together. That page had a bleed, but yeah, but they looked kind of nice. This year, like, even my borders were nice, and, you know, everything was like fancy and like special. This year I'm like, girl, just do it. I'm kind of like, just make sure it happens, right? Like, this season of my life is kind of a little bit, I don't want to say busier, but it's more tumultuous. There's a lot of chaos in my kids' lives and in my work life. And so for me, it's just get the practice in. Who cares what your handwriting looks like? Who cares what the artistry looks like? Do it, because it's way more important to be in God's word, thinking about his word, listening to his scripture, meditating on it, than what it looks like. So there's like no dates. The boxes are crooked. The pen I'm using is ridiculous. My handwriting is whatever, but I don't care because I'm just focusing on making sure that I do it. The other advantage that I find for myself doing it in my daily sheets, like for instance, this is a Sunday, Monday spread. I know this is silly, I'm sorry, but I've used 2 days of daily pages, which takes a little bit of pressure off of me to have something to like journal about every single day, because I'll be honest, like my schedule, like I said, it's just a tumultuous season. So it literally takes 2 pages from my daily spreads, and that's just like helpful to not have those 2 pages there. So then the other thing I was going to mention too is that again, I'm using the Dauber inks right here versus watercolor, which watercolor, like, it gave a lot of like cool effects, and I liked the blending of the colors and the ability to really just, like, I don't know, kind of make some interesting stuff with it, but it just took a while. And I'm not saying I won't go back to watercolor, because I actually really, really love watercolor, but what I need in my life right now is just like ease. I just need the ability to just do things at a pace that is good for me. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is I've been using washi tape on the edges of my pages, which I actually really like. It kind of like stiffens the page a little bit when you turn it, and so it makes it a little bit, I don't know, I just enjoy how it does that. So yeah, so then what do I look at when I'm looking at content for my pages? So usually it's really honestly anything that I want to talk to God about. It could be study specific, like here I'm kind of reviewing some posts that somebody had wrote, and I'm meditating on their thoughts as to how it lays to how we relate to our children and stuff at the time of the world. It can be, you know, themes I want to study. It can just be prayers. It can be aspects of like what's going on in my life right now. It can be just a verse, like on this page it's literally just a verse of the day. So I don't try to like give myself too much structure for the other days, but the ones that I do are like the verse of the weekday. That's a pretty consistent one that I try to put in every single week. You guys did this page with me right here. So yeah, it's just it's a variety of ways that I lay out my stuff. So that's how I do it. And then I always keep my bookmark here for like the next day, and I usually will pre-splatter the pages ahead of time. Sometimes I don't. I just find that it's easier for me to do. Another trick that I have a tendency to do is I'll sometimes decorate a page in advance. Like, I haven't done it recently. I don't want to share that page, I'm sorry. But like I'll stick these like pictures in ahead of time. I'll stick these like numbers and this thing ahead of time. Because then when I actually do want to journal, it's like ready to go. So, and that's something that is different than the previous years, which to be honest, it makes like a difference in the way your journal looks. Because for instance, I'll show you a page I'm thinking of, specifically, if I can find it. So when you pre-do your journal pages, it's not going to be, well, here's one. Like, it's not going to be as artistic. That's honestly, like, that's how I feel about it. Like, this was a picture that I put in, and then I put watercolor over the top, and then I just added some artistic elements to it. And let's see, this one's got some weird artsy stuff. There's another one. The one I was looking for. What month was that in? Well, here's kind of a artistic, more artistry style layout. This one's got a little bit more artistry. So this one for sure, you know, I took this picture, same thing, put some color, you know, added to it over here. This one has like a, you know, I put this like right in the middle. So, I mean, granted, yes, you can still figure out your artistry when you put your pictures ahead of time. This one, I put pictures ahead of time, so it's not as like artistic looking. But to be honest, like, I don't always have time to be on the artsy side, and that's okay. Like, some days are gonna look artsy, some days they won't. I don't know. I have a tendency to kind of go back and forth between the two, and that's fine. Like, it is what it is. But what I do like is the expressive ability to like choose. So that's why I try to think about what's going to happen in my week. If I think it's going to be a busy week, I will put the splotches down first. If I feel like I might have time, then I won't. And that's why I do leave the pages blank. Like, I don't do a bunch ahead of time, because I want to have the option. So yeah, that's my setup for my 2023 Hobonichi. This is how I do most of my prayer stuff, my weekly ones. My prayer, I do this in the morning during Bible study, and then my daily ones I do kind of in the afternoon when I'm like reflecting on how things are going and when I want to talk to God about my day. That is how I use this. I have other journals that I use for different purposes, but this is my faith journal. So let me know what you guys think. Talk to me a little bit about your setups, what kind of journals you guys use. I preferred the Hobonichi so far because I really love the texture of the paper. It's Tomoe River paper, and I just love how it takes the I love how it takes any sort of like stuff, and then I really like the noise it makes. So, and I like how thin it is because it just kind of gives a little bit of, you know, you get a lot of pages and like a little chunk. So thank you guys so much for stopping. I hope this actually inspires you. If you haven't started a faith journal in your walk with Christ, I do encourage you. It doesn't have to be this like explicit. It can just be pages in your journal. My very first journal was just like one of these notebooks like this, and I literally was just like writing, and there was no art or anything, but the point to it is that it gave me a chance to be in reflection with God and to invite him into my thoughts and to think about, you know, the direction that he has for me in my life. So I really pray and hope that you guys found this useful. I hope that it inspires you. If you don't journal, maybe just give it a try. It doesn't have to be consistent. Like, I know you can't see, like that, for instance, I don't necessarily put a page in right on the day, but I will just stick a post-it in with the information that is going to be that page, because then when I do have time, I can come back later. So it doesn't have to be stressful. You can do it at your own pace. It doesn't have to be a daily journal. You can use a notebook and just kind of go with that at the beginning. Like the very first, well, this wasn't my first one, this is my second one, but it was just notebook, you know. It didn't have to be any specific setup. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.